Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode, and I'm not in a nice frame of mind right now. I feel like I very nearly almost threw up there, and I don't like that, but what are you gonna do about it? I can't control the way my body reacts to things. Um, anyway, welcome back to, welcome back to Repeat. I, uh, I I hope this series is doing good by you guys, but at the same time, I really couldn't give two shits if it is or not. My personal enjoyment is way more important than yours because I'm me, and if I don't like something, I will stop playing it. I don't care if it's bringing me views. I'll stop playing it if I feel like it. Let's just let's get into it. Okay, December 11th. Um So I guess I want to say something before I get into this also. I find the state of furry VNs to be in dire straits right now. And I know to some people that's like a heresy or something, but I don't care. I really don't. I'm so sick of seeing subpar VNs being praised as the end all be all of the medium when there's so many better ones out there that are objectively better written in pretty much every facet of their creation. Like, this one for me is mostly just nostalgia, and honestly, some of the ones are genuinely really, really emotional. However, with a game like Echo or Burrows, I enjoy it because the writing is actually really fucking good like in Burrows is basically like great writing from the get go. But with Echo, you have moments of just pure mediocrity, not bad, not good. And then you get to Flynn's route, and it just skyrockets because of Skinny's writing. Which is why I think I like A Role to Play way more than I like Dastra, because it's written by Skinny. Whatever. Enough of my controversial takes, let's just get into this. The skies were dark with gray as a rainstorm slowly grew overhead. The world felt like a blur as Jenny and I scrambled through Bradley Woods in a breathless rush. Sissel always came here to calm down. He's got to be here. He has to be. When I had felt drunk with anxiety as I ransacked every corner of the forest. There was still a chance we could find him before the remnant does if we just hurry. Alex, over there! Jenny pointed at the distance. Stomach dropped at the sight of a familiar figure floating motionless in the lake. Ignoring Jenny's painful wheezing behind me, I made a mad dash towards it. My shoes were immediately soaked when I leaped into the water, desperately splashed away to Sissel's prone, floating body. Panic was still coursing through my head as I pulled him over my shoulder and dragged him to the shore. Jenny was waiting for us there, panting out of breath. He's not moving! What if... Despite every exhausted stage, Jenny held her hand and forced composure. Stay calm. We have to stay calm. It felt like she was speaking to herself and to me. Lay him down on his back on the shore. I know how to perform CPR. The basics, at least. In the meantime, get your phone and call for help. I closed my eyes, took a deep breath, and nodded. Gently setting Sissel into the sand, Jenny quickly leaned his head back to clear his airway and pressed her face close, listening. Her face was grim. Her hands pressed around Sissel's cold neck and chest frantically before Jenny let out a pained sigh of relief. Still alive, not breathing normally, though. It's just compressions might... She muttered to herself. She traced both hands in the correct spot over the sternum and positioned herself versus unconscious body. If you don't break a few ribs, you're not doing it right. I just gotta say that. If you're not breaking a few ribs when you do CPR, you're not doing it right. Around the 8th or ninth compression, his body abruptly spasmed and he lurched forward, belching out lake water and gasping for breath. Jenna were immediately by his side, gently patting his back as he choked out more water, his breath slowly steadied. Sizzle's head eventually fell back into the sand, looking slightly more relaxed. He let out a long breath. Oh my god, he's not dead! His shoulders suddenly relaxed. She choked out a relieved laugh. I think he's gonna be alright. Come on, let's call someone to help him home. Right, Hands were still shaking as I dug out my phone. Swirled loudly with my clumsy fingers, pressed the wrong button in my contacts. Tried to hang up, but to my surprise, Herschel picked up the phone immediately. Oh, hey, Herschel, I didn't mean to call. Herschel let out a long, regretful sigh before speaking again. Listen, I'm really sorry for that outburst earlier today. Don't know what came over me. Is Cecil doing alright? He gulped and hesitated for a moment. Herschel may have been unbelievably angry earlier, but he still clearly cared about Cecil's well-being. In my mind, I slowly explained the situation to him. Barely halfway through before a sharp clatter echoed across the phone as Herschel stood up. Voice shook with worry and a hint of fear. At the lake, you said. I'll be there in 5 minutes with my truck. You kids stay put. And he hung up. Of course, the dogs start barking the second I start fucking doing videos. God, I hate dogs so much. Next few hours passed, just a slow and anxious crawl. A light rain drizzled through the city as the sun fell across the dark evening sky. Herschel raced his truck to the lakeside road like a madman, easily breaking at least a dozen traffic laws. Utterly terrified and ashamed when he saw Cecil's prone body, but he leapt into action and carried him to his truck, and out of the rain. Jen and I were ushered inside as well, and before we knew it, we were back at the empty cafe. How big is this truck? Jeez. Herschel never left Cecil's side. Immediately after arriving at the cafe, Herschel placed Cecil in bed and called a doctor to check up on him. Waiting for the doctor to arrive felt like an eternity. The three of us crowded into Cecil's attic bedroom, watched as the doctor examines his unconscious body. Examination was quick, efficient, and personal, the way all doctors were when strained for time. Herschel suddenly knocked over his chair when the doctor approached us. How's he looking, Doc? Is he gonna be alright? The doctor nodded immediately. Everyone in the room sighed in relief. Everything seems to be in order. No lasting damage has been done. I expect him to wake up by tomorrow morning with no issues. Please call me if anything unusual occurs. Now, if you will excuse me, I have another appointment to attend to. The doctor shook Herschel's hand before making his way out of the door. God. The poor guy, he's... I can't even say what I want to say, because those who haven't... You know what? Fuck it. If you haven't played this game yet, fucking skip ahead. Because I'm not fucking holding this back, because I can't. Okay, for those of you still here, this poor man, he's probably dealing with serious PTSD issues right now, like, holy fuck. Oh my god. By the doctor's comforting words, Herschel still looked in utter... That doesn't work. Despite the doctor's comforting words, Herschel still looked distraught. He knelt by Cecil's bed and buried his face in his hands in frustration. I got to thank you two for looking after Cecil. Calling me when you did, I'm surprised you still trust me after I acted this morning. Of course. We're a little out of line with that outburst, but it's obvious you care about him more than anyone here. Herschel lifted his head, his eyes dark. Clearly didn't care enough. I had an explosion in the kid's face. He wouldn't have went off and tried to drown himself. Come on, Herschel, this isn't your fault. Cecil didn't try to drown himself. He isn't the type to do something like... How do you know that? Herschel rose to his feet and stared quietly at Cecil's sleeping body, his chest rising and falling steadily. People are always more fragile than we like to believe. Stiffened uncomfortably. You see Cecil's face this morning, utterly destroyed he looked. I know what I said would hurt him, but I went ahead and did it anyway. Shrugging his head in shame. Sometimes caring is not enough. He approached the large man carefully. Say, Herschel, Why did you get so angry with Sissel telling everyone about your national championship? Ursula was quiet for several long moments. I don't like to be reminded of it. It brings up some memories I'd rather forget. He shook his head. But it wasn't worth hurting Sister like this. I'm so sorry. You should be apologizing to us. You should be apologizing to Sissel. It's bitter at Ginny's words. Fuck you, bitch. He's his own fucking reasons. Jesus. Just wakes up, you can tell him. Tell him why. He deserves the whole truth from you. She chuckled bitterly her words and nodded. I suppose he does. Anyhow, it is getting dark. You kids should hurry up and go home. Call y'all immediately if Sis wakes up. Excuse me. So this is the first update that I had to wait for it to come out, and I remember it vividly. I remember this coming out extremely vividly, and just being enraptured with this game, and yeah, it was a time. Gina and I exchanged word look before nodding. Alright, keep us informed. But we'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully this will wake up by then, like the doctor said he would. Who the fuck is walking around down there? It's only the dogs. It's probably just the dogs. So he left the cafe, a bone-chilling weight pressed over my shoulders ominously. I could hear the remnant's voice whisper with glee in my ear. What if he doesn't want to wake up? What then? Day 13. Someone is waiting for me. Fucking Christ. Here we go with this. God damn it. Sissel felt drowsy. There was a weight in his chest, like that heavy one of exhaustion for waking up. Voice in the distance was calling him, but he was so damn tired. Sissel groaned and turned in his sleep, covering his head. 5 more minutes. Sissel, you're gonna be late. Oh, good grief. Not like there's anything left for me to do. Got 10 seconds before I make you wake up. The voice was of an older woman. Warm, a little gravelly, and very stern. Reminded of Ginny somewhat. Heard the woman clap her hands impatiently. Well, your 10 seconds is up. It's fucking cold. Callback's fun. Sissel shot up out of his bed as though he had been electrocuted. Ice water trickled down his soaked hair as his eyes darted around the room, heart racing at a mile a minute. Took you long enough. Been calling you downstairs the last 20 minutes. I guess it started, Sissel felt his heart skid to a stop. Mom? Bradley put her hands on her hips with a playful scoff. No, I'm your conscience. Hurry up, make yourself presentable. Don't want to be late for school today, especially with the culinary competition happening this afternoon. So could only gape at her, his brain swimming into confusion. Celia frowned, came closer, combing her fingers through her son's wet hair. Did the water seep into your brain or something? Don't just stand there game like a goldfish. And get breakfast ready. God knows when you clean yourself up, hon. Especially your hair. God knows you're a family of mossy mopheads. Oh, good lord. General patted his head. Cecilia disappeared downstairs with an energetic smile. Sissel stared at her, retreating back with eyes the size of dinner plates. What is happening? So, I remember when this first came out, and I was like, I was playing the update. I was way more easily suckered back then, so I was like, what the fuck? But now I'm just like, oh, he's cool, I guess. I don't really care. I mean, I do, but like, you know what I mean. I've just seen so many of these that like plot twists like Stuff like this doesn't really faze me anymore. Last thing I remember was following that dark figure into Bradley Lake, and then he was dragged into the water and knocked out. How could he be here? Was this all some weird dream? Still shook his head wildly and finally going to go just taking surroundings. Bedroom was apparently sleeping. It was a cozy mess, a picture perfect image of a bedroom he'd always imagined having to himself. Clothes were tossed about, hanging from chairs and door handles. Fucking clean your room, bitch. Holy shit. Class workbooks remembered using with Jenny were sprawled along his desk. Still tiptoed across the room and caught sight of himself in the mirror. He looked and felt cleaner somehow. Flash of yellow caught his eye, and Cecil finally noticed the pile of neatly folded clothing his mother left him. Stared for a moment, really realizing he wouldn't have to wear an age-old torn tank top anymore. This is too surreal. But not entirely bad, I guess. This was a dream, so I hoped he slept just a little longer. There's a life lesson here. It took only to change into his new clothes. Felt so fitting on him, unlike his ripped tank top and oversized torn shorts. Could get used to this. Oh my god, what is this? What the fuck is that outfit? Ew. Cecil crept downstairs slowly, taking every detail of this strangely familiar house. The pictures hung on the wall with photographs of phantom memories. One photo showed younger Cecilia carrying a crying Cecily was first to elementary school with a tiny backpack hanging from his small arms. Right next to it showed Herschel pretending to place the baby Cecil into the oven before getting kicked in the face by his furious mother. Another showed Cecilia, Herschel, and Cecil huddled under a bright Christmas tree. You could see a brilliant grin on his young face as he silently unwrapped presents that he never received. God, that's fucking weird. That's just fucking weird, man. Looking at pictures of yourself and not having the memories to go along with them. Eesh. See, yeah. Except Cecil stared at the photos long enough, he could almost imagine it truly happening. He always wanted to live in a place like this. "Oh, Sissy, dozing off again, are ya?" Herschel's sharp voice jolted him out of his daze. Cecil hurried downstairs to the side of his mother and Herschel bickering as they aggressively flipped omelets on the stove. So apparently they're living together. That's interesting. I guess it makes sense, but, Celia scowled as Herschel's omelet arced dangerously over their heads and nearly bounced out the saucepan as it landed. "Overcompensating for something?" Herschel just grinned smugly as he popped the food into a plate. "Salty that being you 3 breakfasts in a row?" "I'll have you know I've been going easy on you." Celia suddenly caught sight of Cecil and beckoned him cheerfully. "Sweetie, your new outfit looks great on you." There's a flash of timid embarrassment across his face as Cecil hesitantly approached his family at the breakfast table. I don't understand. How can you be here?" Celia laughed and ruffled his hair. The hands were warm. Cecil couldn't help but shrug back shyly from his mother's cheerful smile. "Are you still streaming, sis? Come on, let's hurry up and eat. Got a big day ahead of you." "Big day?" "Yeah, it's visitors' day, remember? Your mother's been dying to see you kick everyone's asses in the culinary competition." "Language." He laid his food slowly. Omelet was delicious. This entire situation was such a strange experience. There's no way this is real, thought to himself. But it was ridiculous the way his mother and uncle bickered as they tossed the salt shaker across the table, but he couldn't help but smile. Everyone's heads perked up at the sound of excited knocking at the front door. "Oh, that must be your friends." "Friends?" Oh my god, he lives in fucking suburbia, good grief, ugh. Doris swung to reveal Jenny's bright grin. "Jenny, it's nice to see you again." "Thanks, Mrs. Bradley." "Yo, sis, what's taking you so long? You welcome to school with us or not? Grand's got an aneurysm if you're late to visitor's day of all days." Stared at her, his mouth gaping like a stunned goldfish yet again. Teach? Wearing a stringy summer shirt that exposed her shoulders. Then he felt his gaze her out, her grin widened. She spread her arms and flung around excitedly. Oh, this is nice to finally wear something short sleeve for once. Summer heat's been killing me. But your arms... Jenny blinked. What about him? Just a pause, her over smiling softly. Nothing. Like your new outfit. Looks good on you. Listened to join her leaf wash over him. Teach was healthy and happy just the way things should be. His ears perked up at the sound of someone approaching them. Sup? Am I interrupting something? Oh my fucking god, I remember this. I was like, holy shit, we get to see our character as a sprite. Because that was really the first time that actually happened in a VN for me. This was like the first experience I had with that. And then, of course, Smoke Room came along, and Echo came along. And in Flynn's Route, there's a sprite of Chase. And then in fucking Smoke Room, you get a Samuels, whatever, you get the point. POV switches are cool. Alex, what are you doing here? To walk with school with you guys, you know, like we always do. I'm sorry when his moody mother nudged his shoulder from behind. Isn't this Silicon boy you've been crushing on? Kind of disappointed you've been hearing my horrible taste in men, but whatever makes you happy, I guess. That's funny. So don't worry, Mrs. Bradley, Sis hasn't asked him out yet. There's still hope. I'm right here, you know. Unless Sissel wants to ask me out right here, right now. Kansas's face grew tenfold as he shoved all his friends out the front door. Alrighty, we're heading to school. Don't want to be late and all that. Both Jenny and Alex wore shit-eating grins on their faces as they let Sissel manhandle them out on the lawn. Guys are awful. And you are too easy to tease. Come on, you assholes. Let's hurry up and get back to Grania. Sissel paused at the feeling of a warm hand on his shoulder. Hey now, wait a moment, young man. You forgot your bag. A wave of shyness took over Sissel for a moment as his mother handed him his small backpack. Forget your stuff. You're not going to leave without saying goodbye to your mom, are you? Right. Dude, the exchanged a quick and affectionate hug. Sissel was used to Herschel attracting him into goodbye hugs, but this felt different. Felt strangely right. I'll see you later, kiddo. Found himself in a slight daze even after Cecilia retreated back into the house. A quick peek into his backpack revealed a lunchbox with a sticky note with Cecilia's squiggly handwriting. She had packed his favorite sandwich and snacks. He still never had a favorite food before. He always just ate whatever he could find. He decided whatever she made, it'll probably become his favorite food anyhow. God, yeah, I mean, when you're struggling to survive, I don't think you have the fucking luxury of picking out a favorite food, so that makes sense. Is this? Crying? Sis wiped his eyes with his shoulder and stomped his way down the street. Heart felt light with content. Contentment would be the right word. Of course not. Come on, let's hurry up. Rain was pouring like buckets the entire afternoon. Skies were dark with gray clouds and roared with the occasional crash of thunder. When school had ended, I ran out the doors and rushed towards Herschel's cafe, ignoring the rain soaking in my skin. The cafe was empty, which was unsurprising after Herschel's outburst from yesterday. Jenny met me at the entrance with a grim frown. She was looking worse. There were noticeable stress lines down her cheeks that traveled up to the bags under her eyes. I hope she hasn't pushed herself too hard these days. With a nod, she motioned me to follow up the stairs. Herschel was sitting next to the bed with a stormy expression when he entered the room. Has he woken up yet? Herschel jolted up from Sissel's bedside. He caught sight of us and shook his head. No, not a peep from him since you all brought him here. Nothing. He's been asleep for like a whole 24 hours? His eyes were sunken with exhaustion and worry. The doctor said he'd be awake by now. Maybe this whole near drowning business is worse than we thought. She crept up to Sissel's side doubtfully. Have you tried pinching him? But no. And he pinched aside his cheek with her gloved hand and yanked hard. There was no reaction. His eyes remained closed and unmoving. Mind being more gentle with him. How about slapping? Hey, no. Resounding slap echoed through the room as Jenny dramatically smacked Cecil across the face. He remained as responsive as a rock. Damn, that always works in the movies. Listen here, I ain't no doctor, but blunt trauma probably ain't the correct treatment for comas. Try dumping water on his head? Dumping water? Herschel groaned and rubbed his temples. No, too much water's the reason he's in this mess to begin with. Sweetie still isn't waking up after so long, though. Yeah, that's the one thing we can agree with. I've been fussing over him for the entire day and he still doesn't budge an inch. Think I should call the doctor over and take a look again? Sounds like a better plan than smacking Cecil over and over again. Crash of thunder suddenly shook across the sky. Fuck you too, bitch! Fuck you! Holy shit! Lights in the cafe flickered and then went out completely. Well, damn. Oh shit, that don't sound too good. Herschel pulled out his phone and tapped it impatiently before stuffing it back in his pocket. No signal. This is just great. I'm gonna drive out to the doctor's office and grab someone to check on Sis again. You kids keep a close eye on him, alright? No slap him across the face while I'm gone. You're going to drive in this weather? Road's barely visible out there. I'll make do. I'll drag a doctor by the throat if I have to. Sis is going to get the care he needs if it's the last thing I do. Wow, maybe it shouldn't be the last thing you do, though. How about that? Yeah, how about that? Jenny and I watched silently as Herschel stomped out of the cafe. Rain continued to pelt the attic window as the sound of Herschel's truck spattered out of the driveway. In the silence, I watched Cecil's chest rise and fall steadily with every breath. He wakes up soon. Will simply wait and be enough. Cecil was attacked by the remnant. Who knows if this is just a simple near drowning experience? You know, if it wasn't for the fucking, Cecil's in a coma and can't wake up, that, room they show for, the upstairs is really cozy looking. I'd sleep there in a heartbeat. Wow. Cecil blinked, feeling slightly dazed. His entire day felt like a surreal dream. Wasn't sure if he wanted it to end just yet. The moment he arrived at school, Mrs. Curlise dragged him aside and bragged all the parents about his great performance in class. She was simply being a supportive teacher and was in no way showing any favoritism. Mrs. Curlise emphasized how Cecil undoubtedly aced the culinary competition with flying colors. When I asked Mrs. Curlise if she was playing favorites, she promptly told her to shut up. Cecil may not be the best in academics, but his work ethic and sheer determination is something all students should strive for. Cecil smiled awkwardly and tried to hide himself by Mrs. Curlise. Getting suddenly dread and Spotlight felt uncomfortable, but the way Mrs. Curlise spoke about him made Cecil's heart twinge a bit with a bit of pride. Well, if this kid's really that impressive, where's his contest entry? It was a nasty woman's voice. Cecil flinched and glanced around aimlessly. Oh, shit. What's the matter? I think I might have left it at home. Impressive indeed. I thought this was supposed to be smart. Panic washed over Cecil as he made a dash towards the door. I think I'll run back and get it before the contest starts. He was suddenly yanked back by Alec's arm with a laugh. You can probably just give your mom and uncle a call instead of run all the way back home. Weren't they on their way to the school anyway? It's Visitor's Day after all. Alright. Didn't really occur to him that he could call home now and just expect someone to pick up or have a home to begin with. That's fucking depressing. Okay. Cecil fumbled with his phone and dialed the unfamiliar mom number in his contacts. Confusion only rose and he heard Cecilia's ringtone go off behind him. Mom? Turned around to see Cecilia and Herschel pushing a familiar car through the school door with matching grins on their faces. Yo. Mom, Herschel, you guys came? Cecilia saw the large metal cart they were pushing. You guys brought my sculpture too? Worked for weeks in your entry, hon. Couldn't just watch you leave it at home and fail. Cecil bolted up at her with relief. There was a moment of hesitation, then he leapt into her arms in a big, warm hug. Thanks for saving my ass, Mom. That's my job, isn't it? Be nice if you required less ass saving in the future, though. Peeked inside the cart. Inside was this glorious chocolate sculpture at the Capitol building, staring in perfect condition and carved with a painstaking level of detail. Merlier scoffed. That's it! My son's entry is much more fitting of victory than a simple hunk of chocolate. Cecilia squinted at the woman, her smile curling into a grimace. Cecil watched her nervously as she stood up straight and stared right into their parents' eyes. My son worked night and day to make sure his entry was in tip-top shape. What kind of store-bought crap did your kid bring this time, Helen? I don't know what you're talking about. At least my child got a proper upbringing with a real father, unlike your son's whore of a parent. Holy fuck. Hey now. Cecil let his mother place a hand on his shoulder. Well, my kid can beat up your kid. And probably you too. Ain't that right, son? I guess. Hell, I can beat you up. Where do you put your money where their mouth is, lady? I'll scramble you like an egg. See, stop picking fights with the parents. You're going to get yourself kicked out of campus again. Yeah, but I'll kick your ass first. Alrighty, let's take a moment to chill and... Oh, man. At this point, Mrs. Curley's jumped in and quickly escorted the other parents out of the hallway before an actual mom-v-mom fistfight broke out. Cecil watched in disbelief. Cecilia flipped the other woman off while she retreated down the hall. Well, before I get arrested for assault, I'm going to take sculpture down to the ballroom for the competition. Be another hour before the competition actually starts. Cecil, why don't you show your mother around and show off the work for the classes while until then? It's fine, I can carry the sculpture myself. Herschel laughed and poked him on the nose. No, I've got this handled, kiddo. I'm sure you get easy for a while. Oh boy, it was struck by how strange it felt to be taken care of like this. Gratefully waved Herschel goodbye as he washed and pushed the cart away. Turned back to his mom, who was relieved to see she had calmed down a bit. Just a bit. The nerve of that woman, can you believe her? You didn't have to wage war on a lady like that, Mom. It's just chocolate. I was defending your honor. Her loud declaration drew the eyes of several people in the hall. Cecil felt his face heat up but couldn't help smiling. Really ruffled his hair like a puppy before poking him in the chest. Listen, nobody talks down to my son without a sharp word or two. Or a fist. I can take a few harsh words, you know. I know you can take it, but that doesn't mean I will. You're my kid. I'm allowed to be proud of you, alright? Felt his face flushed with a mix of embarrassment and pride. Yeah, sure. Mom, I just still gotta show you my work from the class before contest starts. Cecilia's proud smile was the most heartwarming sight in the world. She let her son drag her around the school. Lead the way, hon. God. And here's step number 43. Cover yours if you plan on keeping them. Jenny took a deep breath, aimed Herschel's trumpet inches away from Cecil's face, and blew hard. The room shook as the fierce farting sound of a trumpet violently convulsed through the attic walls and eviscerated my eardrums. I clapped my hands around my ears and glanced at Cecil. He was still sleeping peacefully, blind and deaf to the world around him, despite the murderous trumpet and roaring rainstorm outside. Just finally dropped the trumpet and sighed. What a fucking Christ. Damn, no response. We've tried everything we could think of since Herschel left. But I don't think he's ever gonna wake up. The drudge over me as I hovered over his sleeping body. This doesn't feel normal. You'd think he'd at least react. Think that ghost did something to him? Then he tapped her chin thoughtfully. I can't say I'm too familiar with all this ghostly business. Maybe we should perform exorcism. I seriously doubt that would work. Lifted one of my legs. Was the floor getting wet? Water was seeping unnaturally through a crack in the windowsill, soaking in the attic floor. Jumped back. Behind Jenny as the puddle of water spread with a mind of its own. Slowly, a familiar figure rose from the water like a cryptic sea creature rising from the depths. Hello again, young one. Oh, it's just you. For a second, I thought it was the remnant. Ha! And he suddenly leaped forward and shoved a handful of salt in the witch's face. Some of it stuck to her hair, while the rest fell easily on the floor. What was that supposed to be? And he jumped back behind with a glare. An exorcism, obviously. With Walmart table salt. Whoa, calm down. This is a friendly ghost. She just rose out of the water like a knockoff monster from The Ring. Can't honestly expect me to chill with this. It's fine, it's fine. This lady saved me and sister from the faceless ghost a few times. We can trust her. Indeed. I intend to help. I turned towards the black lady of Bradley Lake as she casually dabbed the salt off her face like a cat. So, you're here to make sure this is alright, right? How do we help him? Wish turned its head towards Sissel, lying peacefully in his sleep. He will not wake up. Thorn has pulled him into a deep sleep, trapped in a dream of Sissel's own making. He will not wake up unless he himself wants to. Ginny eyed Bradley suspiciously and approached her at Sissel's bedside. Must be one hell of a dream. Correct. It is a perfect dream. A perfect world where all his pain and insecurities are at ease, where all his wishes are true. He's living in his world where his family is alive and well, raising him to a loving child he never had in the waking world. All the opportunities he had missed and longed for is for the taking, and all his regrets are wiped from existence. The purest happiness. That's not life. There's a reason life isn't perfect. Ginny and I exchanged glances as we tried to process the witch's words. So, to wake Sissel up, he has to want to wake up. What can we do to help? Bradley lifted her thin, skeletal hand and gently placed it on Sissel's forehead. I will need your help. The room has grown stronger. I cannot forcibly break through Sissel's dream. However, I can project a strong... I'm sorry. However, I can project a strong memory from what he went to Sissel's dream. Bradley paused. A strong memory. A memory that reminds him of what matters in the waking world. It will convince him to voluntarily wake up from his perfect dream. Bradley turned towards us, an expectant glimmer in her eye. Do either you have the strong memory Sissel needs? The room was quiet for several minutes as I wrapped my brain for something useful. You've known him for like a week, dude. You don't have a memory strong enough. Chewing on my lip, I thought back on all my times with Sissel. Do I have anything significant enough to wake him up? I have a lot of happy memories with Sissel in them. Like our camping trip or that time we stayed at the cafe together. Hell, maybe even the kayaking trip. None of those memories will suffice. Sissel's already as happy as could possibly be in his dream. The witch's voice was blunt and to the point. I flinched, my composure wavered, and I thought hard again. I have plenty of other memories with him too, like the times we talked about his ambition to be successful, making Ursula happy, his longing of a family. That is just simple talk. Too weak. Bradley examined me carefully. I could feel the gaze of her sharp eyes from underneath her curtain of black hair. You are unlikely to have anything of substance to provide. You've only known Sissel for a little over 2 weeks. What are you to him? An infatuation? A crush? Not enough to wake him from a routine like this. You're irrelevant here. I mean, blunt but true. Heart plummeted and I felt sick to my stomach. Her words were harsh, but the truth of them hurt more than anything else. I could only nod, stone-faced, and took a seat at the back of the room. Virginia glanced at me with a worried expression, but I couldn't meet her eyes. With a sigh, she stepped up towards the witch and offered her hand. I think I might have something. Bradley took her hand, her thin, bony fingers slowly wrapping around Jenny's small hand. The room was quiet as Bradley brushed her fingers across Jenny's palm. Yes, this will do. Now close your eyes and focus on the things you felt in this moment. It will be the key to tethering Sissel back to the waking world. Jenny gulped and gave a determined nod. Bradley placed her hand on Sissel's forehead. Let us begin. There's a lot here. There's a lot here that I could say and talk about, but like, wow. Sissel wasn't sure when the nagging feeling in his chest began, but he tried his best to ignore it. This time when he spent with his family, he wasn't going to let anything distract him from enjoying it. Sissel smiled and tugged on his mother's sleeves as he led her through Granny's classrooms. And this is the art room where I helped Mrs. Curley's with a few of her sculpture classes. I didn't think sculpting would be very useful in the culinary stuff I was doing, but I'm glad I learned it. Celia scanned through all the art pieces on display with a wide smile on her face. She felt a stomach flutter when Cecilia looked impressed with his own sculptures on the display. God, so good at the beginning of the year. Well, you've got a taste for architecture too, huh? Nice job, sis. Sissel's face flushed and he grinned. Thanks, Mom. Wait a second. Celia dabbed a finger at a particular clay model in Sissel's section. That's a penis. What? Oh, that, made that one. It's supposed to be a model that Gherkin building from London. Celia nodded proudly. That's a penis. She barked to laugh at Sissel's red face. She shocked his mother out of the art room. She's your grown-ass woman. Can you be a little more mature? It's my job to embarrass you from time to time. Or all the time. Depends on my mood. Whatever. Anyway, let's move on to the next class already. Suddenly, the nagging feeling in his stomach twisted into a knot, and Sissel doubled over in pain. Sis, are you okay? Sissel staggered onto his feet and nodded. Yeah, I don't know what came over me. Huh? World suddenly went white. He realized he was wearing the normal clothes, too. What was going on? Cecil stumbled around frantically. Where was his mother? Couldn't see anything. He couldn't... Mom? Mom, where'd you go? Even he was surprised by the sheer anguish in his voice as he called the empty Aunt White. His head was racing with fright as he remembered at this strange nothingness. Just couldn't know her. He didn't want to live without his family again. He needed to find her. I'm sick of waiting. A familiar voice suddenly echoed faintly through this empty world. Cecil turned around just in time to see a small figure running past him. Was that? His heart lurched against his chest as he slowly turned toward the direction the child was running towards. He remembered this. Remembered coming to this window every day long ago. It was a place of comfort that he'd forgotten about. As he approached, he could make out a familiar figure behind the glass. He remembered now. This was the place they first met. Ginny grew up in her room. It was a plain room with dull gray walls and shelves stacked with all the books she could ever want. Every day she would make herself comfortable by the light of the window and read until the day was done. Not as if she had anything else to do. Ginevra Corliss was a rather useless, effective girl.
She wasn't allowed to leave this room. Sometimes she looked out the window and watched the people passing through the streets. She'd often notice a small beggar boy, hardly older than she was, talking to anyone who would listen to him. Sometimes the grown-ups would give him some food. Sometimes they would give him some pocket change. But more often than not, they just ignored him. Jenny always felt a little bad for him, but there wasn't much she could do to help. She was just a useless, defective girl after all. And she wasn't allowed to leave this room. One day, she realized that she didn't have to. Windows slammed open. Hey, you flower girl! Can read, right? Teach me! Book Jenny was perusing, drew out from her stunned hands. What? The boy scowled and wiggled his little feet from his position on the windowsill. Jenny was utterly bewildered and wondered what she should do. Never spoken to anyone her age before. Shouldn't you ask for a real teacher your parents to teach you? Sure, they do a better job. The boy's tiny scowl grew impatient. Don't have any. If I were when I was school, they'd probably send me back to the orphanage or some crap. Why can't you teach me? See you in this window every day with your face buried in a book. Look smart enough to be a teacher. I just do it. He paused and looked up and took a look at the empty room she was trapped in every day with only books for company. She sighed and shrugged. Not think of any better to do. All right, I'll be your teacher. Billy pumped a tiny triumphant fist in the air. Yes! Thanks, Teach. I promise I'll make it worth your while. Oh, boy. Aw. The boy's name was Sissel. He wasn't the brightest bulb in the box, but he worked harder than Jenny could have ever imagined someone his age ever could. Every day, Sissel would climb through her window and demand the next lesson of her little reading class. Sissel bashed his way through Jenny's books with workloads with reckless abandon. She couldn't help but feel a rush of pride every day when the little beggar boy thanked her for sneaking out the window. They'd never helped people before. One day, during one of their lessons, Jenny absentmindedly asked us if there was anything he wished for. Any big dreams or big goals in his life? He stopped chewing on his pen and grew quiet for a moment. Well, I used to dream about having a family. Jenny blinked, surprised. I used to think they'd find me one day and I'd be able to grow up like a real kid. You know, with a mom and a dad. And I'd go to school, get a good job, and live a successful life. Something like that. That was all it was, though, a dream. Jenny glanced at her friend with worry. You don't dream of that anymore? Suddenly stood up and looked at him with a mix of anger and determination. Sure I do, but what good is dreaming gonna do? Sick of waiting for something that will never happen. Sick of waiting. Any old idiot can dream. Any old idiot can wish for something their entire life and hope that it happens. Take something else entirely to grab that dream with your own hands and work for it, to fight for it. Nothing worth getting just gonna fall into your lap with no effort. He'll turn toward Jenny, a proud and grateful grin on his face. What can I do today to work towards my dream? I saw someone who could teach me to read and help me be a better person, so I grabbed it. And I learned to read, then I'll be able to take on better jobs and learn new things. After that, I find something really good at, and I'll make a good living off of it. Younger Sissel grinned at Jenny, his face full of pride. And I'll finally pay you back for all your faith in me, Teach. I don't have a family, but I've got you, don't I? Jenny could only stare up at Sissel with a dumb, happy smile across her face. Huh? Teach, are you crying? Sorry, I didn't mean to make you sad. And he shook her head, reached out and held Sissel's hand firmly. Sissel didn't know what to do as this useless, defective girl slunk quietly into his arm. No, I'm happy. You make me happy. Glad I got you too. I'd do without you. Cecil stared as the memory of his younger self slowly faded into white. shame gripped his heart as he stood by himself in this empty world. Sissel, are you alright? Sissel took a deep breath and turned to face his mother's kind, worried face. He felt tears starting to blur his vision as he tried to find something to say. Mom, I think I have to go. Cecilia Bradley frowned with concern and placed her hands on his shoulders. So soon? Are you sure? Sissel nodded. His hand reached up and grabbed his mother's. He didn't want to let go, but you're dead. Words of Sissel's throat as tears streamed down his cheeks. You're never coming back. I can't stay here. Got people outside waiting for me. I can't afford to let them down. Celia Bradley's face softened. Her hands brushed Sissel's face and gently wiped away his tears. I know. She pulled Sissel close into one last hug. Sissel held her close, burying his face into her shoulders as tears continued to fall. For what it's worth, I'm proud to call you my son. Sissel smiled, wet tears rolling down his face as his mother slowly disappeared. Her words etched into his heart. The white dreamscape around him rumbled slowly as cracks began to form. Slowly it began falling apart. He was ready to wake up now. A low laugh echoed through the air as the world crumbled apart around him. Are you sure you want to leave? You'll never see her again, you know. Sissel took a deep breath and faced forward with determination he hadn't felt in a long time. Yeah. You've really grown up, haven't you? Remnant chuckled in a pride in his voice. But the real question is, who took this perfect world from you? Who stole your childhood and your perfect life from you? What is truth? Fuck! God damn it, that fucking scene. Fuck! God. I'm trying to think of a title while I'm voicing this as well, which is definitely hard. But, you know, whatever. I crouched over Sissel's bed and anxiously waited as Jenny and Bradley rested their hands on Sissel's forehead. Her eyes were closed in concentration as the minutes ticked by. The room was silent. Slowly, Jenny's eyes fluttered open as she awoke from her daze. Did you do it? Did it work? She rubbed her eyes and glanced at Sissel nervously. I think so. His groan as Sissel slowly stirred in his sleep. His eyes were still closed, but his face was agitated as several tears fell down his cheeks. Black Lady, a Bradley Lake, lifted her hand from Sissel's forehead. He is waking. It will take several minutes for him to recover, but soon this will be well again. She turned towards Jenny with a nod of gratitude. Thank you for taking care of him. Jenny smiled out a sigh of relief. Of course, it's the least I could do. The room suddenly went cold as a dark figure lumbered out of the shadows. Well done. Well done, Generva Corliss. You've done it again. Both immediately stood up straight and crowded in front of so protectively. The hell do you want? Haven't you done enough damage already? Remnant cackled as he staggered closer to us. Problems were already there. All I did was point them out. As he came closer, I noticed he was carrying something small and golden in his mouth. Remnant grinned and dropped Herschel's culinary competition trophy onto the ground with a thud. You will need this later. Congratulations on waking your friend. I wish you all the best. With another maniacal laugh, the room disappeared into the dark. Exchanged confused glances with Jenny. Looks like there will be more trouble coming our way. There's another 10 minutes before Cecil finally opened his eyes. Words can never describe the sheer relief we felt. Jan and I fussed over, asking if he was alright, if he was hurt. Cecil stared at us blankly for a moment, still dazed. Then the first thing he did was sit up and pull Jenny into a tight hug. She was surprised at first, but embraced him with a laugh. Hey sis, glad to have you back. Feeling alright? I'm just glad to be back. It's nice to see you too, Teach. Oh, and Alex too. Wave of relief washed over me as I rested a hand on Cecil's shoulder. Did my best to bite back that involuntary, bitter feeling in the back of my head before smiling at him. You nearly drowned in a lake when we were unconscious for almost 2 whole days. You sure you're alright? Herschel's gonna get a doctor to check out over you right now, but I stepped out the window at the violent rainstorm screeching outside. Looks like it'll take him a while to come back. So I'll really send Herschel a text message to let him know his Schlüssel is woken up. Cecil flinched at the mention of Herschel and glanced at the door. Is boss still mad at me? No, of course not. You should have seen him. He was so worried about you. Herschel fussed over and took care of you the entire time you were unconscious. Cecil grew very quiet and hung his head low. All right. Boss is my uncle. Yeah, wait. What? Cecil and I gaped at him. When did this happen? Cecil chuckled. There was a heavy look on his face. I guess we have a lot of catch up to do, huh? Let me explain what had happened since Cecil passed out. Our research in the library, finding Cecil drowned in Bradley Lake and Herschel nursing him back to health. There was no mention of the remnant ripping Echo apart or a black lady of Bradley Lake aiding us. Mere idea of it sounded too crazy. I see. Don't just I see. Tell us what you mean when you said Herschel's your uncle. All right. Sounded distracted. I, kind of found a VHS made my mother when I was a baby. Herschel was there recording the video and laughing with us. My mother is Cecilia Bradley, and it turns out Herschel is my uncle. Wow, that's a pretty big bombshell. How does it make you feel? Yikes, that's the most therapist thing I've ever heard from you. Jennifer Corley's therapist extraordinary at your service. Seriously, though, are you doing all right? That's kind of revelations need to process. Zaya stared in the distance in an unsettling frown. Don't get me wrong, it's nice to know my mom didn't throw me out like trash, but his boss, Herschel, always known about this. He had to have at least suspected I was a nephew. Explains why he took care of a random kid off the streets, but why didn't he tell me? There's a suspiciously bitter edge to his voice that made me more than a little nervous. Well, hey, orphan boy, it turns out I'm your uncle and your mom is dead isn't something you can just announce out of the blue. Maybe Herschel just didn't want to make things awkward. Maybe. The attic door suddenly slammed open and a rain-soaked Herschel stumbled inside. I got your text, is he? Herschel's face lit up as he bounded into Cecil and crushed in a wet bear hug. You're awake! Jesus, stop dancing, Christ, don't scare me like that again. You had any idea how worried I was? Herschel squeezed Cecil close to his chest, sighing with relief. Cecil just hung back immediately. It took a few moments before his arm rested suspiciously on Herschel's back. Sorry about that, didn't mean to worry you. No, I should be the one apologizing. Herschel stuttered and struggled to compose himself. What I mean to say is, first and foremost, I'm real sorry for the blowing up at you the other day. I was just really angry and said things I couldn't take back. You didn't deserve any of that.
About that. Mind explaining why you're so twitchy about your culinary competition winnings? Been very shifty about those subjects.
Schultz twitched as he sat back nervously. It's, a long story.
I've got time. Sounds like you got a lot to tell, Uncle.
How did you find out? You did promise to explain everything when Cecil woke up. Don't you want to set things right?
Well, yeah, but
She felt uncomfortably silent and he looked away, avoiding eye contact with Cecil.
it's that difficult, huh?
Scowl nearly reached for the golden trophy cup left on his bedside by the remnant. Brushed his fingers over the Herschel McDermott on the plaque, his gaze hardening.
Don't have to say anything. I think I have a pretty good picture of what happened. Culinary contest. Flew across the country to attend the final shortly after my mother had me. Grandparents' debtors visited her while you were gone and killed her after finding out she didn't have any money. Took everything in the cabinet, including the baby, me.
So Paul looked up, staring at the trophy. Herschel's head hung low with shame as he avoided any eye contact. His brow shook as he tried to hold in whatever he was feeling. I wanted to tell you for so long. When I found you on the streets as a kid, I immediately knew. Thought the world would give me another chance, so I did everything I could to take care of you from there on. But I was so scared. You would hate me for everything that happened to you.
And so you decided to hide it.
Beresh's voice cut like a knife. Yeah.
I get that part, but there's something that just doesn't click.
His eyes widened. He gulped and looked up, his shoulders shaking. What do you mean?
My mother was killed by the debtors because she didn't have any money left. They probably thought she was refusing to pay and got violent. It wasn't a reason to kill if she was still coughing up dough, right? Because Cecilia Bradley would save up some money in case this happened, right? But she didn't. Allegedly.
There was a long, tense pause. His fist gripped so tightly that his knuckles turned white. So held the trophy up to the light, examined it closely. And then he turned towards Herschel.
Herschel, where did you get the money to fly the Nationals? Trips travel costs aren't covered for contenders in the competition. So where the hell did you find money to get there? You were hardly swinging money at that point in your life.
It's not what it sounds like.
Is it, though? Is it?
Cecil stood from his seat and glared at Herschel with absolute fury.
You were just like me. So damn desperate to win this trophy, wanting to make something of yourself. Except I didn't steal money from my only remaining family for a damn trophy.
That's not.
Am I wrong?
Herschel gaped in stunned dread before hanging his head down in shame. No, you're right. My sister was a good person, better one than I could ever be. I thought this was a chance to prove myself. I thought if I could just win the competition, I could use the prize money to pay back all our family's debt. In the end, I won, but Christine lifted the trophy in his hands.
You won. But in the end, my mother was murdered and I was thrown to a dumpster. Family, my childhood, all my time, scavenging and begging on the streets. All for this damn cup!
Gnarly disgust and snarl, Cecil smashed the trophy into the wall. Golden shards scattered across the wooden attic floor as Cecil stormed out of the room, not once glanced in Herschel's direction. I just wanted to help. Cecil paused and spoke quietly through gritted teeth.
I don't want to speak to you again. I can make my way through my life without your help. In fact, your help is the last thing I need.
In other words, as I left the cafe. Yeah, that's about accurate. Just dots. Day 15. Day 15 burn. Fuck. Yeah, that's it for today, guys. I'm gonna wait for the next one. Yeah, I'm gonna wait. I hope you guys had fun watching this. I really appreciate that you guys take the time to watch my videos. I really do. It means a lot. And fucking Christ. I don't know if I did a good job there at all with my acting, but hopefully I did. Maybe I'll watch it when I watch it back. I'll be impressed with myself, but who fucking knows? See you on the next one, I guess. Bye bye.